Hi, I'm Tamás. Today I want to share some of my favorite gouache tips, especially how to get the most out of a limited palette. But first, one of these sketches almost went straight into the bin, and with gouache I saved it. I will also show you how I use gouache for quick ideation, even if I have just a limited time. We will look at painting on location, capturing summer memories and a fun family project. My goal is to give you ideas you can try for yourself and maybe inspire you to start to paint more freely. Let's start with a few quick tips. First, remember that gouache is similar to watercolors, but with an opaque finish. That means you can build up layers and cover mistakes, which gives you a lot of freedom. It's an opaque watercolor. What does it mean? If you imagine, for example, a marker, which is transparent, the highlighter, and that's how the watercolors work. And the gouache paint is a bit different, more closer to the acrylics, how you can paint over your mistakes or if you want to add any details. It consists of pure pigment and gum arabic as a binder, which allows for reactivation. Second, a limited palette is your best friend. Some brands sell huge sets of up to 100 really nuanced shades, which I'm not a big fan of. You don't need fancy brushes or expensive canvas. A simple, thicker watercolor paper or a mixed media paper is perfect. However, the better artist quality paints will mix much better. This is the only expensive ingredient we will need. Good paints aren't cheap and cheap paints aren't good, so try to invest a bit in better quality paints and you can avoid frustration. I like to use what is often called the modern printing palette. This includes the primary, cyan or cerulean blue, magenta and cadmium yellow or lemon yellow, plus white. From these you can mix almost anything. I sometimes add a few convenient colors, but this palette keeps the painting harmonious and it is much easier to manage when you are working outside or on a smaller project. Third, don't be afraid of the chalkiness. Gouache naturally dries a little flatter, but that is also part of its charm. If you embrace it, you can get beautiful results. It's often associated with illustrative work because of this matte final look. But just for the record, you can still bring those vibrant, juicy colors back with a proper varnishing. Fourth, for a clean result, it is best to wait for your layers to dry before adding more paint. The good news is that the gouache dries really quick. You don't have to wait too long. And one more, always keep a small spray bottle nearby to keep your paints workable. Gouache dries fast and a quick mist of water makes a huge difference. Fixing with white gouache. Recently, inside the Modern Artist Club, we worked on a flower painting with watercolor. As I started to add details to the background, it felt a bit too busy. So I simply mixed white gouache and painted over it, and it completely saved the piece, and now the flower can shine again. That is one of the strengths of gouache. You can cover up and adjust without losing the whole painting. In another sketch, gouache really saved me. The composition wasn't working because of the placement of a leaf and the shape of the teacup. Instead of starting over, we just painted over it with gouache, reshaped it, and suddenly the painting made sense. That is the flexibility I love. It lets you take risks and because you can always adjust, you are a bit less worried about making mistakes. And by the way, if you would like to experience this real time, right now I would love to invite you to join the next live session of the Modern Artist Club for free. Painting together is completely different compared to working alone, and I think you will feel the difference right away. The link is under the video if you want to try it out. Painting on location. Lately I'm experimenting with an efficient outdoor painting setup. I want something that is easy to carry even if I'm cycling in the morning, and what I can quickly start using without the need of an outdoor easel or a tripod. I started with a quick sketch in a colored pencil, blocking in the main shapes, and then I jumped into the painting. Both setup time and easy carry are now solved, and I was able to paint on my lap in the sketchbook. So I feel I finally found a sweet spot. One morning I cycled to the riverside and wanted to capture the little island in the morning light. I was fascinated by the reflections on the water, where rich blues played against the warm browns and created a really vibrant contrast. I knew the light would change quickly, so my goal was to capture the essential colors and mood, even if the shapes were not perfect. Preparing the palette before heading out sped up my setup and allowed me to start painting right away. Gouache was especially useful for adding lighter waves on the water and highlights to the rocks, which brought the whole scene to life. One of the hardest was to set the proper shadow colors, so next time I will try to push those even further. Just like with acrylics or oils, with gouache you can leave the final highlights for the last step, which is a huge benefit compared to watercolor. For me, the real magic of plein air painting isn't about perfect shapes, it's about catching the mood. A photo can record the scene, but it doesn't hold the same energy. The summer memory. This next one is a small set of paintings from the summer holiday. For me, painting is not just about technique, it is about holding on to the moments. A limited palette works well here too, because it forces you to simplify and focus on the mood instead of the tiny details. If next time you try to paint on a beach or outside with watercolors, at least bring with you a little white gouache, so you can add highlights to the rocks and railings. This will make your life so much easier. And finally, here's a fun family project. During the holiday, we painted together with my son after dinner, and I realized gouache is the perfect for this. It dries quickly, it is easy to clean up, and you can get results in one sitting. Not to mention, my son loved that we were able to paint over the sky, and it was really close to acrylics. So yeah, it was really fun. Not every painting has to be serious. Sometimes it is just about enjoying the process with others. So those were a few gouache tips and how I use them across different projects. If you want more step-by-step projects, I share weekly workshops inside the Modern Artist Club. And if you are just getting started, I also put together a free guide called 10 Tips How to Start Creating Art. It is a simple PDF you can download and it will help you pick up the brush and begin with confidence. You will find a link below. Most importantly, keep painting, keep experimenting, and don't be afraid to make it personal. That is where the real joy of art creation comes from. Join our next session and let's paint together. Have a creative day.